All right, chemistry, here comes your second video lecture of the course. We're going to talk about the syllabus for this class. What I want you to be able to do at the end of this video, I want you to be able to summarize classroom expectations, frame the use of AST, distinguish the rigor of this course from other classes, describe my late policy, explain the journal assignment, identify tardy and bathroom policies, recount the consequences for phones and touching things on Mr. Johnson's desk, and then described a flipped classroom, which is what this course will be, a flipped classroom. So this course will focus on the major concepts in chemistry through using lecture, video, demonstrations, reading, and laboratory work. Everything that is required of you in this class has been shown to be at your level, meaning you can do it because you have passed with appropriate grades the two prerequisites for this class, which are biology and algebra 1. So I'm not going to ask you to do any type of math that you haven't already done in algebra 1 or earlier. So don't tell me you can't do it. Grading procedure. Now, the number and size of tests, assignments, and labs will be determined by me as I believe is best for the quality and efficiency of student learning. However, tests, assignments, and labs will be weighted, meaning your semester grade will be mostly due to, as we see the breakdown, tests and projects coming in at 35%, right? After that, the next largest group is 30% for assignments. After that, quizzes constitute 20% of your grade. Labs and activities constitute 15% of your grade. Now, you might look at this and say, oh, assignments are the second most important thing. I'm going to disagree. When we talk about tests and projects and quizzes, there's a term what we use in education. They're called an assessment. We are assessing how you're doing at that time, your content knowledge at that time. When you put these types of assessments together, add them up, assessments account for 55% of your grade. Assessments are very critical in this class. Because chemistry is an A through G course, which is also known as a college preparatory class, students who have scored well in previous classes often struggle in chemistry. It has happened that several students have received their first B ever in their schooling career in my chemistry class. I'm telling you that chemistry is going to be a work-intensive course. And if you are not prepared to raise the level of your mental and physical effort in order to deal with the rigor of this class, you will struggle. So let's talk about AST, Assisted Study Time. Is a 15-minute period after school, right, after your last period of the day, during which students have an opportunity to get extra help from teachers, extra time to work on assignments, make up missed assessments, and communicate about future scheduling issues. If you're leaving because you have a field hockey game, AST the day before is when you come into that class and say, you know, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, I will not be here tomorrow. You know, what am I going to miss? AST is designed for those purposes. Now, AST on Monday, because Monday we have a short day, AST on Monday starts at 1:45 and goes through 2 p.m. The rest of the week, Tuesday through Friday, it starts at 3:05 and ends at 3:20. Now, students will be selected out of their last period class of the day to stay for AST. These students will be selected based on, but not limited to, overall grade, recent assessment marks, and missing assignments. And so if you have if you have a struggling grade, if you got a very, very poor quiz score on your most recent quiz, or if you're missing some assignments, if that class meets the last period of that day, that teacher can ask you to stay for AST. And here's the thing, these ASTs are required. Now, they're not disciplinary in nature. It's not that you're staying for AST because you are in trouble. It is a strategy to make sure students are getting the help they need to improve their grades. Now, they are required. So please do not plan on leaving campus until AST is over on days which you are asked to stay for AST. And yes, the school 100% has the legal right to make you stay until the end of AST. It does not matter if your ride is here. It does not matter if your ride has to wait that extra 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if you have an appointment that you're going to miss, because the school, according to the law, has the ability, has the right to keep you until 2 o'clock on Mondays and 3:20 the rest of the week. And if someone is complicit in allowing you or helping you to avoid those time periods, not only will you be cited for cutting school, that person can be seen as an accomplice, and even your parents can get in trouble for not keeping you in class through the entirety of the school. It is looked at truly as cutting class, which is a very big deal. Next up, let's talk about extra credit in my class. There will be no extra credit in this class, no exceptions, and don't ask. Students every year, for some reason, come up to me and they say, Mr. Johnson, can I have an extra credit assignment so I can get my grade up? I say, no. And they say, please, I will do anything. And my response is very flat. It consists of something like, no, you won't, because under the guise of anything would be paying attention in class, doing your assignments, and studying for your assessments. If you did those things, you wouldn't need extra credit. And so I will not allow extra credit in my class, so do not ask. Late assignments. All assignments will be due at the beginning of the period or when called for by me. Other than excused absences, excused meaning with a note, assignments handed in at any other time will be considered late. Because falling behind is such a grave situation, it's so bad, it's so dangerous, I'm going to implement late work penalties. So once your assignment is late, you can get a maximum 75% of what you could have earned. Doesn't mean you will get 75%. If it's 100% done, if it's 100% correct, you'll get 75% of what you would have gotten. After 1 week of being late, you can get a maximum 50%. Now, a lot of people have the misconception when it comes to late work penalties. Like, oh, I'm only going to get half the credit, so I'm just not going to do it at all. It's not worth it. That is a horrible attitude to have, first off, because it's simply incorrect. The difference between having a 0 and having a 50% in a particular grade column can make the difference between you passing a course and failing a course. So please, even if it's late, complete your assignments. Work missed due to excused absences, again, excused, will be due as per school policy, which generally states that if you are absent for 1 day, you will get 1 additional day before that assignment is due. If you are absent for 2 days, you will get an additional 2 days until that particular assignment is due, and on and on. But it is the responsibility of the student to find out what work was assigned and what information was missed. I, your teacher, am not going to track you down and say, hey, you were absent yesterday. You need to do this assignment and hand it to you, because that is not my responsibility. It is your responsibility. And so you are going to be under the clock, under that 1 week late limit, and it's on you to remember to ask for that work. Any labs missed due to absences must be made up, and it is very likely that your partner will be assigned to another group, which may leave you alone to complete that lab or alternative assignment. Any tests missed, or quizzes for that matter, due to an absence should be taken as soon as possible following that absence. It is the responsibility of the student to schedule the time to make up the test, AST. So see how we're doing so far. What percentage of your overall grade is due to assessments, which would be tests and quizzes combined? Is it 35%, 55%, 20%, or 15%? It is 55%. How much extra credit can you expect in this course? As much as I need? As much as I ask for? A little if I'm really close to getting a good grade, or none? You can expect none. Students can be required to stay for AST when assigned. It's true or false? This is true. So this is very important for you to remember, especially as we get through the beginning portion of this course and get into the math portion of this course. All of your work must be shown on tests, quizzes, labs, and assignments when possible. Now, tests and quizzes that we take, there are going to be multiple choice aspects of those tests and quizzes. But any time that is possible for you to show your work, you must show your work, or you will not receive credit for that. If you don't know what it looks like to show your work, refer to any example calculations that we do in class that are written on your notes, or also on my YouTube channel for your benefit. It is very common that students will turn in an assignment with just the answers written down, presumably because they simply copied them from someone else or got them online, but there's no work shown. And I'll say, you did not show your work. Why are you turning this in? And they'll respond with something that sounds like, well, it's better than turning in nothing at all. And I respond, no, it's the exact same thing as turning in nothing at all. You will get 0 on this. You get absolutely nothing for turning in an assignment with just the answers. Journal assignment. Most periods will begin with an entrance journal entry and end with an exit journal entry. Not every single period, but most periods. When you walk into class, there will be a journal entry projected on the board. It'll be a prompt, and it is your responsibility to copy down that prompt onto your journal page, which I will provide. Once the bell rings to start class, a timer, which will also be projected on the board, will be started. It'll have a varying amount of time. Usually it'll be 2 minutes, but it'll change based on the nature of the question or the prompt. But once the bell rings, the timer will be started. Now, when the timer goes off, I will start going up and down the rows with a stamp. And I will either stamp your paper or you'll get a no stamp. Now, the way you get a stamp, meaning you will get points for that, is you have copied down the entire question, the entire prompt. You have a legitimate answer, and you are done on time, meaning if you are still writing while I come by your desk, you're late, and you do not get credit for that. So when I say a legitimate response, here a legitimate answer does not mean a correct answer. I want you to have it correct, but you can actually get a stamp even if you get the question wrong. Now, if it's a horrible one, that will not count. But if you're doing good work, you simply made a calculation error, I understand that and I can recognize that. I'll still give you points for that. But a legitimate answer means that you have used past knowledge or you've shown thought. Now, there are reasons that you might miss a stamp. For example, if you are absent, if you have an excuse tardy, again, which means you have a note in your hand signed by a teacher, you can come into AST to receive that stamp. However, if you miss a stamp because you are tardy and it is unexcused, you're simply late to class and so you didn't finish on time, or there are certain incorrect answers that I abhor, I will not allow you to make up those stamps even if you come into AST. And so show up on time, get your journal done, and so you can get the points. You'll be expected to exhibit the 3 R's. The 3 R's are readiness, responsibility, and respect. What it means to be ready is that students will be expected to be on time to class as well as prepared to actively participate in the day's activities. This means that you have a writing utensil and a handout. It pains me every time a student sits in their desk and they have nothing on their desk. They have no handouts and they have nothing to write with. That means that they are not ready. And because you are not ready, there may be disciplinary actions and there may be academic repercussions, meaning your grade can be impacted. It is not the responsibility of the people around you to give you a pencil. It is not the responsibility of your teacher to give you a pencil. It is your responsibility to have the handouts that you need and a writing utensil. Being responsible means that students will be expected to be responsible. The student will be fully and solely responsible for the learning of the information. If you get an F, if you get a D, if you get a C, or even if it's the first B you have ever received, I am not going to get in trouble. You can complain to the principal all you want. You can write me angry letters. But if you do not perform at the level that I deem appropriate for an A, you will not receive an A. It is not my fault that you got a B, a C, a D, or an F. It has always been and always will be up to you and how you perform. This includes communicating with the instructor before any scheduled absence so that accommodations can be made to ensure students maintain proper pace and do not fall behind. This is the student's responsibility. Respectful. Students will be expected to be respectful. Because being respectful consists in, but is not limited to, remaining silent while other individuals have been acknowledged to speak, meaning someone raises their hand, I call on them. You're expected to remain silent, not quiet, meaning not whisper to someone else, but to be silent. Or when I am speaking. Another thing I want to throw in here is you need to also respect yourself. You need to respect yourself as a student, meaning hold yourself to a high standard of performance. All of my students can learn. All of my students can perform. And if you think that you cannot, you have disrespected yourself. You need to understand that you do have the potential to do every single thing that I will ask you to do in class, and hold yourself to that standard. Let's talk about my tardy policy and my bathroom policy. Roll will be taken when the bell rings. If a student is not inside of my classroom by the time the bell rings, the student will be marked as tardy. It's as simple as that. Now, I know other teachers on campus have an additional portion of their tardy policy that states that if they are not seated by the time the bell rings, they will be considered tardy. If they, some teachers even go so far as to say if they do not have a writing utensil out and ready by the time the bell rings, they are considered tardy. I just need you inside the classroom. All right, that's for me personally. Because if you are not inside the classroom by the time the bell rings, the timer for the journal will have already started, and you will probably not have enough time to finish your journal. And yes, a tardy status does not excuse a student from the normal expectations of the journal. If I pass by you and you're not done because you were tardy, you do not get to make up that stamp. You lose those points. Students may be permitted to visit the restroom if in need. However, the student will be assigned a mandatory AST in exchange, must turn in their phone, and may not leave for the restroom within the first or last 15 minutes of the class. In addition, I reserve the right to refuse a student from leaving the room if the instructor deems it inappropriate and necessary. In years past, I have had students that made arrangements to meet with friends, with a boyfriend or girlfriend in the bathroom or something like that at a particular time. And once I found that out and these students' fellow teachers found that out, they no longer were allowed to use the restroom. It is not a right, it is a privilege. And if you abuse that privilege, it will be taken from you. You might be wondering why I want to take your phone. It is not as a punishment. I'm not going to turn it into the office and get you in trouble. I'll give it right back once you come back from the restroom. But this is done to ensure that no one uses the restroom to check Facebook, update their Twitter, or do whatever it is that kids like to do on their phone. No one is allowed to use their phone during school time, and I will not allow a restroom visit to change that. Here's a fun one. No student will touch anything on my desk at all. Touching any object on the desk without expressed specific instruction or permission will result in detention. Objects on the desk will either be objects used throughout instruction, meaning stuff that I need to use and I need to know where it is, or chemicals that will be, for the most part, unknown to you. You have no idea what they are. No exceptions. For example, a student that I had about 4 years ago ended up being suspended for using a stapler without asking. The student walked up to my desk, grabbed the stapler, stapled a piece of paper, and I said, "You have detention." And the student goes, "Oh, are you kidding me?" I said, "No, that's the rule. It's a stapler. I just needed to I understand what you were doing. You did not follow or meet my expectations. My expectations is that you will not touch anything on my desk without asking." You might be asking, well, didn't you say detention? How did he get suspended? Well, this student did not attend the detention that was assigned to him. As per normal CUHS policy, any student that does not attend an assigned detention is suspended. Now, this student's parent called the high school, was very, very aggressive, complaining to administration. Administration asked me one question. Did this student know that he was not supposed to touch anything on your desk? And I said, yes. Administration said, okay. And that was the end of that. Do not touch anything on my desk. Phones. What is the policy on phones? No phones. Phones, or earbuds for that matter. This is actually a new thing that I need to clarify for this year. Phones and earbuds will be confiscated if seen on campus, and here's a kicker, or suspected of use. Phones will also be confiscated in my class when a student leaves the room to use the restroom. Now, in that case, I'll give the phone right back to you. It's not to get you in trouble. I just don't want you using it as an excuse to use your phone. Also, calculators. I need to use my phone so I can use a calculator. Calculators on phones will not be used for class purposes. Students must either bring an actual calculator or use one of the classroom sets. But before you use one of my classroom calculators, you better ask for permission first, or else you're getting detention. Now let's talk about a flipped classroom. This is how information will be communicated in this class, and this is how work will be done in this class. If you're not familiar with the flipped classroom, the type of work that is to be completed at home, meaning the things that you're going to do at home, like homework, isn't the normal stuff. The stuff that you're going to do at home, you're going to watch all of my lectures and take notes at home. You're going to read the textbook and complete my reading assignments at home, so that when you come to class, you'll be doing things like problem solving, working on worksheets, doing labs and activities, and other types of group work. The basic fundamental idea behind this flipped classroom is simply understanding when you need help. It does not take help to listen to a lecture. It does not take help to take notes. It does not take help to read a textbook or complete a reading assignment. So let's have you, the student, complete those assignments where you don't have help at home. You don't have help from at home. But what are the things that might require help? Let's say there's a particular problem that you're getting stuck on. You're going to need help. You're not sure what you're supposed to do on this particular worksheet. You need help with that. You do not know how to complete a particular activity or lab assignment. You need help with that. Anything where you could possibly need help, I want you doing that thing in this classroom where both your classmates and your teacher are available to provide that help when you need it. One of the things I want to avoid at all costs is a student who is earnestly and honestly trying to do the work that's required of them, maybe work on a particular problem at home. They get stuck. They honestly want to figure it out, but they are just stuck and they don't know what to do. At home, you're out of options. But if you get stuck in my classroom, you can ask me a good question, or you can ask your classmates a good question and continue on. So you might wonder about these lectures. All of my video lectures are available at all time because we are going to be, you are going to be watching them via YouTube. If a student has a metered internet connection, meaning you get charged for how much data you use, or you have internet connectivity issues at home, and so it might be an excuse, I can't watch YouTube at home for various reasons, well, then the student may use the computers in the library or the computers in the B1 lab in order to watch these video lectures because they are available on YouTube. If it is necessary, a student may bring a phone or a jump drive to Mr. Johnson, me, and have a hard copy, meaning the actual file of the video, uploaded to that device in order to avoid data usage or connectivity issues. But this is the responsibility of the student to arrange this transaction. Now, this might be very, very useful for athletes. at certain points in the year, athletes may miss large portions of class, and they might have a very long bus ride. Well, if you have access to the hard copy of the video, you can watch that video on your phone while you're taking your bus ride, and you won't use up all of your data. But again, come to me beforehand so we can figure that out for you. That's it for the syllabus. If you have any issues, please contact me. This is my email address, jjohnson@corninghs.org. It's also on the Corning High School website under the staff directory. If you have issues, you can either email me or you can simply come to Back to School night. This year, Back to School is on Wednesday, August 22nd. You can ask me in person. I truly hope to hear from you soon. So let's see how we're doing at the end of this presentation. When are notes expected to be taken? Meaning you watch the video lecture at home and you take notes. Are you supposed to take those notes after class, before class, at home? Is it both B and C, or is it both A and C? It is both B and C. You're supposed to do these before class and at home. You will not be allowed to watch videos during class throughout this course. If the notes have not been taken or the reading has not been done, it is expected that the student will watch the video on their phone or read the textbook in class. True or false? That is actually incorrect. Holy cow. I have a wonderful formatting issue. That's supposed to be false, so please forgive me on that. That's false. That's false, 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 false. Last one. Let's hope I didn't screw this up. Which of the following is not a reason that your phone will be confiscated? If your phone goes off inside your backpack, you are having a lecture put on your phone by me, right? Transferring that hard copy onto your phone. Other teachers let you use your phone in their class. You need to use it for a calculator, or you want to show me a quote-unquote dank meme. Which one is not a reason to have your phone confiscated? If you're having a lecture put onto your phone, right? That's you being responsible. I need to transfer that onto something that you can use to watch it later. That is okay with me. I might ask you to come in during AST or lunch to have that done, but I will not confiscate your phone after that. So what have we done in this video? We've summarized classroom expectations. We've framed the use of AST. We've distinguished the rigor of chemistry from other classes. We've described the late policy. We've explained the journal assignment. We have identified the tardy and bathroom policies. We've recounted the consequences for phones and touching things on Mr. Johnson's desk, as well as describing a flipped classroom.